Hello, especially for the Dirty Secrets channel.
Sarah Winters stared at the crack in her bedroom ceiling, a jagged line that had appeared overnight. Like everything else in her life, it seemed to have materialized without warning. She traced its path with her eyes, following it from corner to wall, wondering if the house was slowly coming apart, just as she was. 3 months had passed since the accident. 3 months of silence in a house once filled with laughter. 3 months of avoiding the room at the end of the hall, door perpetually closed, untouched since that rainy Tuesday when everything changed. Her phone buzzed. Dr. Michael's office, confirming tomorrow's appointment. Sarah let it ring until it stopped, adding another missed call to her collection. The crack in the ceiling seemed to widen as she watched, though she knew that was impossible. Just like her mind playing tricks, inventing David's footsteps in the hallway at night. "You haven't been returning my calls," Dr. Michaels said, adjusting her glasses. Her office was deliberately calming, soft blues, tasteful artwork of open landscapes, a white noise machine humming in the corner. "I've been busy," Sarah replied, examining her hands. "With what?" Sarah looked up. "Surviving." Dr. Michaels nodded, letting the silence stretch between them. She'd become adept at this, waiting out Sarah's defenses. "I found David's journal," Sarah finally said. "Hidden in his desk drawer. Have you read it?" "Not yet. Feels like violating something sacred. Or perhaps you're afraid of what you might find." Sarah's eyes flashed. "What's that supposed to mean?" Dr. Michaels leaned forward. "Sometimes we avoid certain truths not because they're painful, but because they might force us to confront something we're not ready to face." The leather-bound journal sat on Sarah's coffee table like a bomb waiting to detonate. For days, she circled it, picking it up only to put it back down. When she finally opened it, the first entry was dated 3 years ago. "I'm not sure who I am anymore. Sarah sees the version of me I've carefully constructed, but underneath, there's something else. A hollowness that grows. I smile when expected, laugh at appropriate moments, but it's performance art. I'm becoming a stranger to myself." Sarah's hands trembled. This wasn't the David she knew, the confident architect, the man who planned their future in meticulous detail. This was someone else entirely. She read until dawn, absorbing pages of David's internal struggles, his growing sense of detachment, his fear that he was disappearing into himself. The final entry was dated the day before the accident. "The pretending has become unbearable. Something has to change." "He wasn't himself those last few weeks," Marcus said, stirring sugar into his coffee. Sarah had rarely spoken to her neighbor before, but she needed answers from someone who had seen David from a different angle. "What do you mean?" she asked. Marcus hesitated. "He'd be outside at odd hours. Once around 3 a.m., I found him staring at your house from the street. When I asked if everything was okay, he just said he was rehearsing for the inevitable. I should have told you, but..." "But what?" "He made me promise not to. Said he was working through something and needed space." Sarah's coffee grew cold as Marcus recounted other incidents, David missing work, speaking cryptically about shedding identities, long drives to nowhere. "The day before the accident, he gave me this." Marcus handed her a sealed envelope. "Said if anything happened to him, I should wait 3 months and then give it to you." Sarah locked herself in the bathroom before opening the envelope. Her hand shook so badly she nearly tore the letter inside. "Sarah, if you're reading this, I've either found the courage to leave or something has happened to me. Either way, I'm sorry. Not for leaving, but for never truly being there in the first place. What I'm about to tell you will hurt, but you deserve the truth. I've been living a lie. The man you married was a carefully constructed facade. I built him because I thought he was who you wanted, who society expected. But maintaining that illusion has hollowed me out. The accident you witnessed wasn't an accident." Sarah slid to the floor, the letter clutched to her chest, her breath coming in short gasps. The truth she had been avoiding crashed down around her. The windshield wipers fought against the downpour as Sarah drove along the coastal road. David had called, asking her to meet him at their spot overlooking the ocean. His voice had sounded strange, determined yet distant. She arrived to find him standing near the cliff edge, rain plastering his hair to his forehead. "David, what are you doing? Come back from there." He turned, his expression eerily calm. "I can't pretend anymore, Sarah." "Pretend what?" "You're scaring me. That I'm happy. That I'm the man you think I am." She stepped toward him, hand outstretched. "Whatever it is, we can work through it." "No," he said softly. "Some things can't be fixed." He took one step back, then another. She lunged forward, fingers grazing his jacket, but it was too late. The memory always ended here in her nightmares, with her scream merging with the crash of waves below. "It wasn't an accident," Sarah told Dr. Michaels at their emergency session. "He stepped off that cliff deliberately, right in front of me." Dr. Michaels' expression remained neutral, but her eyes reflected compassion. "You've been carrying this knowledge all along, haven't you?" "I told the police he slipped," Sarah whispered. "I told everyone it was an accident. I couldn't bear for them to know the truth." "And what is the truth, Sarah?" "That I failed him. That I never really knew him at all. That our entire marriage was built on a performance he couldn't sustain." "Or perhaps," Dr. Michaels suggested gently, "the truth is more complex than that." Sarah emptied David's closet, determined to face whatever other secrets he had kept. Behind a row of identical suits, the uniform of the man he pretended to be, she found a cardboard box labeled simply "Before." Inside were remnants of a different David, sketchbooks filled with surreal drawings, poetry journals, photographs of him with people she'd never met, looking happier than she'd ever seen him. A college ID card listed his major as fine arts, not the business administration he'd claimed. Most shocking was a letter of acceptance to an artist's residency in Berlin dated 6 years ago when they were first dating. He had never mentioned applying. At the bottom of the box lay a half-finished portrait of her, rendered in a style she wouldn't have associated with him, raw, emotive, vulnerable. On the back he had written, "The real me loves the real you. If only I could find the courage to let both exist." "He never told you about Berlin?" Elena asked, surprised. They sat in a cafe Sarah had never visited before, in a part of town David had never mentioned. "No," Sarah said. "Just like he never mentioned you." Elena sighed. "We weren't lovers, if that's what you're thinking. We were friends from art school. I was probably the only person who knew both Davids, the artist and the architect. He would call me sometimes when the pretending became too much." "Why did he do it? Change himself so completely?" "His father," Elena said. "After his mother died, his father made it clear that art was a hobby, not a career. David tried to stand his ground, but eventually the pressure won. When he met you, he was already deep into becoming what everyone else wanted. And I just reinforced it," Sarah realized aloud. "I fell in love with the facade." "No," Elena said firmly. "You fell in love with glimpses of his true self that escaped despite his best efforts. He knew that. It's why he couldn't bring himself to leave you, even when maintaining the lie became unbearable." Sarah visited David's father, a stern man who had always intimidated her with his rigid expectations and emotional detachment. "He was weak," the old man said when she confronted him about David's abandoned dreams. "The real world doesn't reward dreamers." "No," Sarah said, finding strength in her anger. "He was strong enough to try to be what you wanted, even though it destroyed him. I'm not here for your approval or forgiveness. I'm here to tell you that your son was an artist, a brilliant one, and you'll never know what the world lost because of your narrow definition of success." She left the crumbling portrait on his coffee table, evidence of the son he had never truly known. 1 year after David's death, Sarah stood in a small gallery surrounded by his artwork, pieces rescued from storage, from Elena's collection, from the Before box. Each one represented a piece of the real David, finally allowed to exist in the world. The centerpiece was the unfinished portrait of her, displayed alongside a new painting of her own creation, her first attempt at art since childhood. Hers lacked his technical skill but carried an emotional honesty that matched his own. The crack in her bedroom ceiling had been repaired months ago, but Sarah had painted a thin gold line where it had been, a reminder that some breaks can't be hidden, only transformed. Dr. Michaels found her studying David's self-portrait. "How are you feeling?" she asked. "Like I'm finally meeting him," Sarah replied. "And maybe myself too." She had titled the exhibition Echoes of Silence, but the gallery was anything but silent now. It was filled with conversations, with questions, with the messy truth of a life not neatly categorized. As she looked around at the strangers engaging with David's innermost thoughts made visible, Sarah realized that in death, he had achieved what he couldn't in life, the courage to be fully seen. And in her grief, she had found something unexpected, the courage to truly see herself. In the corner, barely noticeable, she had placed the final page of his journal, framed simply with his last written words. "The pretending has become unbearable. Something has to change." Beside it, she had added her response. "Something did."
Thank you for watching. If you liked the story, like, subscribe to the channel and share with your friends. Thank you.